Welcome to NLP Upskill Your Life podcast with myself, Mark, and Fintan and Rich. We're all involved in this podcast. So today we spoke to you around anchors and the as if frame. So Fintan also done a very useful thing in guided meditation. So just to mention what Rich said in the podcast, if you do not drive or operate machinery while watching this or listening to this podcast. So enjoy the episode and join us again in another 2 weeks next Tuesday. Take care. Thanks for listening.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, well, good day from wherever you are. So we are pleased to have Mark, Fintan and myself tonight, and we are talking about anchoring and as if reframe as well. So please sit back, enjoy, relax, and just go down deeper as you listen in to this outstanding, awesome podcast. So what we're going to start off with is just how to get yourself in a really good state of mind. It's called the triple warmer, and there's called something else in EFT, I do believe. So it doesn't matter which hand you use if you're looking on screen, either left or right. If you've got a third hand, then well, a bit different. So
we'll all give this a go. We'll all give this a go together, yeah.
All right. So just between the ring finger and little finger, just follow the tendons down there. There's a nice little gap there. And what you can do is you can just end up tapping them and just saying affirmations of I feel really good. I feel absolutely amazing. I am. And just repeat these affirmations to yourself. And I am the God of humanity. Just come back onto humanity and reincarnated in human form or something waffle like that, and just go, I'm the God of education and learning and understanding, as I am again re-educated on human form, and we are not. Just get the two fingers and just pinch them together and say the words awesome as you look at it.
Awesome.
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 And that is a start of one particular anchor, which you can then utilize whenever you need to get in the mood of, say, learning, feeling really good about yourself, or whatever the case may be, of maybe get some confidence if you're going for a job interview. And anchors, they take up a lot of different areas. So there's some you recognize that you do quite a bit. There's some that you're not quite so familiar with. And we all have these, and we all set them, say, like when we come through the door of a house, in a particular house, it might be a case of, oh my God, or you might be really happy coming home from a day at work or a day at school. And you might take one into your bedroom where you're studying away, and that might be sat by your bed and you're going through the books. That could be a really good anchor for you there. And these are called spatial anchors. You could have one just sat in front of the TV and just in a good state of just watching TV, enjoying what's on the show. In fact, it should.
Excellent, Rich. That's very good. Yeah, tonight we're going to talk about anchors and how we can use them to upskill your life. It's one of the many NLP skills that we're all glad we learned, and that we wish we knew a long time ago. I myself have been using anchoring for a few years now. I first came across the idea, I think it was it Tony Robbins or Paul McKenna gave me the idea first, but particularly actually Paul McKenna. I got his book, Change Your Life in 7 Days, and one of the things I learned from it was anchoring. And to be honest with you, I actually have used it for years, and I use it in any situation, particularly one which might be slightly stressful. And what I do is I use the 5 fingers on my left hand, and I take different experiences from my life, times when I felt confident, times when I felt relaxed. And what I find actually is it's great for renewing my energy. So for example, I was doing a series of tests, and it was for an interview. That was a number of years ago. And what I did was in between each test, there was very little time to rest, to stop. So at the end of each test, my mind was completely full of everything that I'd gone through the test before. So what I needed to do was just kind of give myself a clean sheet, a clean slate even, and be in a relaxed, stress-free, confident mood or mode for the next exam. And using this was a very simple thing. What I did was, a number of years ago, I did some meditation. I learned about meditation, and I have to say I found it very useful. So the first finger I use is simply, what I do is I just run energy up my body from my feet all the way up my arms, or up my legs, up my body. And what I do is actually I tap into the 7 chakras, if you're familiar with them. I'm not going to go too far into them, but there's the root chakra, which is the bottom of your spine. There's the sacral chakra, which is 2 inches below your belly button. The solar plexus, which is just around your belly button. There's the heart chakra, the throat chakra, and the third eye, they call it, which is just in the center of your forehead, and the crown chakra. If anybody is familiar with tapping, you'll notice that some of those chakras are used in tapping as well. So that's the first one. So I just run up there, and then I run the energy all the way up my body. Very simple, very quick. And then the second one is I imagine a little candle. So I'm lighting a candle. I have a lighter in my hand. Light a candle, let it fire off into the distance, and let it come back then and gets doubles in size, really overtakes me and then goes behind me. Third one, I remember the time when I was standing on the edge of a cliff in Arranmore Island in Donegal, and it was just a beautiful day. I'm looking down at the sea below. I can see the waves crashing against the bottom of the cliff, and I noticed there's seagulls on my left hand side, and I noticed the energy coming through my body. And as it goes over, there was a stack on my right hand side, a sea stack. And with that, all of the energy goes through my body into the side where the sea stack is, goes up into the sky, and a cloud opens up and rains down on top of me. And that just filters down through my body. And it's as quick as that. And the last one then is, what's the last one? Basically, yeah, I just start at the crown and just let all the energy. Oh, actually, sorry, that's the last one then, is when the energy, the water, the rain comes down, and it all just flows through my body and out my legs. That takes about 30 seconds to do, and that completely clears everything. And you've forgotten completely about the previous one. You're totally focused, ready for the next exam, you know. So that's just an example of, but you can use it in any stressful situation. If you're going into a meeting, if you're going to give a speech, you're going to do anything. And you can show what the beauty of it is. You can be doing it as you're doing it. You know, you can be sitting on the bus doing it. You can be sitting in the car. You can be sitting in the exam. Just do it. And nobody knows what you're doing. And you completely reset your body. That's a complete reset now. And I've used that for years. And I have to say, no matter what the situation is, once I've done that, I'm completely re-energized and I'm ready to go. Actually, I do that every morning. It's one of the first things I do in the morning, just to give myself a good ego state. And little did I know that that's what I was doing. But there you go.
They're all connected, aren't they, Fintan?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, everything's connected. Yeah. It's all connected.
Yeah, it's even like you can use them, as you probably agree, lads, that, you know, for instance, if you're, you know, if you want to feel like a better state, like just say people might lack confidence for going for interviews, or if they could be lacking confidence for anything, like it could be if they're, you know, runners, like doing a race, or like it could come into any kind of life, like any scenario. So what I've heard before, what I've learned in my NLP course, that I find useful for all the listeners and anyone that's listening out there, is basically if you close your eyes and you close your eyes, close your eyes for a moment, and then right, so think of something you'd like, be it more confidence, or you want to be happier, or it could be anything like that. Okay, so when you've thought of that, I know you all have your eyes closed. So I want you to bring yourself to that part, to where you are. Just imagine yourself how good you'd feel being like that now, like be a happiness or more confidence or whatever the case may be. So just feel and go to that point, okay? And really feel what you feel and see how good you see all the stuff, how you feel of being more confident or happy or whatever the case may be. And then see it and hear it and feel it, really feel it. So what I'd like you to do next is you can build an anchor. It could be on your non-dominant hand, maybe your thumb and your middle finger, and you can squeeze that. Okay, that's your anchor. Not just yet, but that's what you can do. Okay, so when you're ready with your right hand, you imagine there's a lever. Okay, and you want to pull that lever. And when you pull that lever, we're gonna go swish, and and at the same time we're gonna anchor that feeling. Okay, so I'm gonna count to three. 1, 2, 3. Pull that lever and anchor it and feel really good and see how good you feel and hear all that you can hear, which is really, really powerful, really, really good. Yeah. So you can open your eyes now and then close them again. And you can do that again, the exact same thing, by going into that feeling. This time you feel really better. You can see and feel and hear how good it feels to put yourself in that position. And once again, we're going to pull that lever again. And when I put 1, 2, 3, pull that lever and go swish and do that anchor, and you're feeling really good. And you can see how good you feel and hear all the everything, and really see and hear and feel how good this is. And you've got an anchor there. So when I was doing that, so you can open your eyes again and you can test that out again for yourself. You can do that anchor. It could be your thumb and your middle finger, or even putting your hand on your heart. There's many anchors you can use, whatever feels comfortable for you. But I found that really good for building. Could be confidence or happiness, or whatever you want more of. I found that really, really helpful. So that could really help people. Really good.
Where have you used the anchor for yourself then, Mark?
Where have I used that anchor?
Yeah. Have you used it before you have any gigs or
Yeah. Well, I use it a lot for running. Just say I'm doing like, if people can use it for running, like if it be a marathon or a half marathon or a 10K. If you're feeling good in the run, you can use that anchor, and you can build it up. Like, just say you use your middle finger and your thumb every time you're feeling good, like in a run or at a concert, or you can use it, like, and it really works to build these anchors. Like, if you're feeling like an off day, by using this anchor can really work.
uh-huh. And if you've had an off day running, Mark, you've actually used the anchor to help improve your performance running.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, though I have done. Yeah,
Yeah.
like for instance, sometimes if you're not in the humor for, like, for whatever reason, you could be maybe not in the mood for running more, but then if as you use that anchor, it can really kind of remember from the last time you've done that run, can really help. Really help.
Mm-hmm. Does it encourage you to overtake people?
Say again?
Does it
Yeah, yeah, the races.
overtake people?
Yeah, yeah. And what other way have you used anchors, Rich, that could help the listeners?
Just more for relaxation and getting better focus into certain situations. So I did teach some young lads and lasses a couple of years ago now, was a spatial anchoring. And so they've got how they are at the time. In the middle is their exams. And at the end of that is how good they can feel. So it's like a circle of excellence, in effect. And what I asked them to do was, from their present, look and listen about how they felt back doing their exams, step into how they feel about the exams, and then go from there and get in that circle of excellence and act as if they've done really well in the exams, they've passed the exams without any failure, and any other resources that they would need to be successful in passing those exams, then get them back to that state in the present and ask them then to look at how they were doing with the exams, and then step into where the exams were taking place then, to make them feel really good about and real confident and happy that they can do well in the exams at the time.
And what was that? Did like people you help with that? How did they feel? Did it work?
I think it's too many kids and they weren't really buying into it.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know what the results were, but it's quite useful spatial anchors to look at where you are in the present into a further situation and recognizing how you might feel in that future time, and then knowing that you have got success and you can build it as if state that you have got in there, or somebody can may look at going, right, who's successful, or do I know how do they act and how would they feel when they have completed that certain situation, and then go back to where the start point was and look all through again and just work through that a few times.
Very good. Yeah, that's excellent. I suppose you tend to get more buy-in where people are kind of at a situation where they are there for that reason. They have decided to go there for that reason.
Yeah,
and that's what
this was just a one-off to demonstrate to some young lads and lasses, like anchoring how words can affect people and that kind of thing.
There's one thing about anchoring I was just thinking, which might be useful for people to recognize, and that is that we all have lots of anchors. And you tipped on that earlier when you were saying about going into the house and stuff like that. We all have anchors. For example, if you see somebody that you don't like, somebody maybe who bullied you when you were younger, or somebody who maybe a teacher you had you didn't like, and when you see them again, all those feelings come flooding back, and the same, it might be a place where something bad happened. Now, of course, there's lots of good experiences that we've anchored as well. For example, when you hear the sound of seagulls, right?
Might be a few things, but not for me. That's standard sodding things. Mark?
Sorry about that.
Not seagulls, can't stand the sodding things.
Seagulls, yeah. Well,
no, I'm not mad about them myself.
Yeah. The thing is, you could think of them as robbing your ship, but it's just, I suppose, one of the reasons I think of that when I hear seagulls is because I moved to the Midlands a number of years ago, where there were less seagulls. So when I hear the seagulls now, occasionally they come in. So there's a good few of them around now at the moment because of the storm. So when I hear them, that's what I think of. I think of the seaside. I think of that, But sometimes you could be walking down the road, you could smell freshly cut grass. And it could remind you of when you were a child in the summer. For example, one of the jobs I used to have to do as a kid was mow the lawn. So, in fact, when I was a teenager, I had a business mowing the lawn, mowing lawns. But that's another story for another time, perhaps. And so when I get that smell of freshly cut grass, it brings me back to that time. There's lots of different smells, tastes. You might have had a favorite sweet when you were a child and not tasted it since then, and suddenly you get it and you go, oh my God, that really brings me back, So we've already anchored so many things that we don't even remember, we don't even realize. And yet we trigger those anchors every time we get that smell, see that sight, hear that voice. Maybe it's a voice you haven't heard in years. You hear the voice and suddenly it's like, oh my God, we're back,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because your senses, like, it can be all different senses, can't it? Like, your smell, your like gustery, like taste and sight and feel, like all the senses can be used in anchors, can't they? Like it's even it's even, I was only thinking earlier on there, someone was saying that, you know, if somebody's at a funeral, let's say, of, like, you know, somebody that close, that died, a friend or something like that, and you go up and someone's, all they're hearing all the time is, "I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss," and they're putting their hand on their shoulder. That's building an anchor, you know.
Mhm.
That's building a kind of a negative anchor. But you know, so I think what a better thing would be to do, I heard before, is go up to them and say, kind of remind them, oh God, I remember them. I remember that time when we, like, you know, something, some fun memory. I know, like, don't expect them to laugh because obviously it's a very, very sad time, but by saying to them that, like, you know, I remember we used to do that, or we used to do that, like, you know, and it's good to have that memories, like just something subtle rather than all the time saying I'm sorry for your loss, because that can build a unuseful anchor.
Absolutely. And going back to what Fintan was saying about smell as well being one of the most powerful ones, it is, because it goes directly back to the brain. It bypasses all the other functions of being worked out into the brain, so straight back to the brain. And so if you're going for an exam, you can use, say, like the smell of peppermint or something like that, or some incense, what you can take in with the exams, to then use that smell to remember how you were revising when you were preparing for an exam or for an interview. You can take that in with you as well.
Mm.
Right, because of course, a lot of the time, if you're studying for an exam, you're probably studying in your bedroom. You're probably sitting on the bed somewhere comfortable, maybe listening to music. But when you go to the exam, none of those conditions exist there. It's a hard chair on a
Mm.
table, and there's certainly no music allowed. So you have to try and use something to trigger that information to be released onto the paper. And what Rich said there is just perfect. Yeah. Get something that you associate, that you can bring in with you.
Chewing gum.
Yeah. If that's what you do. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent.
Or don't put all the notes in your hat in case the hat falls off, you know.
Or you get searched. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, it's in my head.
of an itchy head or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just on the tip of my tongue. What does it say there?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But like,
Very good.
as well as that, yeah, as well as that, like, you know, I only thought about this earlier on, the as if frame as well. Like, basically, as if is, you know, just say, like the lads are saying, you're going for an interview or you're going for an exam, you're going to do an exam. The as if frame can be very useful. So, like, you can say to yourself, I feel like, think of it as if I'm after passing that exam, and how good you feel after that time. Just like, to act as if you're after passing the exam, or act as if you're after getting the job, the interview. And what you can do is think to yourself, where what stages led to that, as if, you know, because as you know, the brain doesn't know the difference between like, sometimes the brain doesn't know the difference between what's imagined and what's real. So what you can do is write down the stages of how you got there, which can be very useful on the as if frame. So, like, someone was saying there earlier on, listening to another podcast, and they were saying that this lady came in and she was after losing her husband. You know, she was after losing her husband, and like, she yeah, she lost her husband, and she was saying, "I'm never gonna get over this. I'm just so depressed, and I just can't get over this," you know. So the guy that was helping her used the as if frame, which is really, really good. So she basically got to, as if we're going back down the road, and how she is now, act as if she's not over it, but you're finding it a bit easier, you know, as if, like, you're years down the road. And he got her to say out what stages she used, what she used to get to that point. Like what she did, she joined different groups, readers groups. She joined a walking group, and she did this like, and got to write all this down. And let's say 2 years. So this, he handed the end. This is what you have to do for 2 years to get over. I just thought that was great, the way he handled that.
Yeah, that's excellent. Very good. That's quite similar to what you were doing with those kids, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, just another slight variation on the same theme is sometimes if I'm there and I know I have to do something, or I want to do something, and I think to myself, okay, who do I know who would be great at doing this? And then I obviously somebody I know would be great at doing it because I know some great people. And go, okay, well, what would they do in this situation? And I go, well, I know what they would do because they've probably told me lots of times before exactly what to do in that situation. I go, well, okay, but I would be going, well, you see, I'm me, so that's not what I do. So I go, okay, well, forget about what you do because that's rubbish. Obviously, that's why you're in this situation. So what would they do? And so then I would just follow through with what they do. I calm down, I just reset my state, and I go, okay, I'm going to go into whatever mode, person mode, and it works and it's great. It's again another slight variety or variation on the same theme of as if I am that person. And yeah, so that's great. Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, I did use that as if with one guy I'm working with, and so the questions were about how would a marathon runner act and how they feel and how they be. Then he was going to do this walk, so he did formulate within the as if as a marathon runner, but he was more comfortable acting as if he was a even higher performing walker. So that fitted his mindset and mind frame a lot easier than going running. So you'd be kind of cautious about what level you put the as if reframe at. If it's something out of the bounds of somebody else's or your own experience, then may not be as useful as in if it's your own experience, but maybe at a higher level that somebody you know performs well in that particular situation.
Yeah, that's a great point, Rich. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because even you can use in any kind of scenario, really, can't you? Like, even if you're starting a new habit or new sports routine, as if can be used very well as well. And it comes well. It kind of all ties in together with anchors as well, I think, because you're using the as if scenario, and as you're doing that, you can anchor that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And the one thing we were talking about there earlier was the experience we've been getting from doing these podcasts, and how we feel a bit more. Well, that's how I'm feeling. But the point is that I find that just practicing doing it, even if the first time you practice something as if somehow somebody else might do it, and you make mistakes, which you will. So what? You go, okay, well, how could I have done that better? And just reframe it. And don't get caught up in the mistakes. Just reframe it and go, what would have worked better there? What would that person say to me if I asked them? And you know what the answer most likely is. And if not, then do ask them. And then you just improve as you go. Just do it again, and then again, and then again, until you do feel the confidence. And it just flows more naturally then, and all of a sudden you're in a situation where you're actually doing it exactly the same way as the other person, but now you're not doing it as if you were them, you're doing it as yourself.
Yeah, no, great point. Yeah.
So where are we at? As if reframe and visual squash.
So I'll do the squash induction, if you like. And basically what this is as I mentioned earlier on, that I learned about meditation years ago, and it's something that really affected my life and something that I got so much from. So much so that I actually enjoy doing meditations now, guided meditations. And so one of the things that I find is that when you go into a relaxed state, it helps you to, go in and search through your inner resources. Because we all have resources inside of us that we don't realize, or we don't use, or we don't have in the moment. And being able to draw them out in a given moment can be very, very useful. And one that I learned there recently was the squash. So basically what it is it's combining two very different but very useful resources at the one time. So for example, the one I learned was relaxation and focus. So if you can imagine, being very focused on something can be very different than being relaxed. And being very relaxed can be very different than being focused. But there are times when both, been able to have both at the same time, both states at the same time, both feelings at the same time, can be very, very useful. An example of that would be going into an exam or an interview, presentation, speech, going any situation, And for example, when you're at an exam, you can be very focused, which could be too focused. You might remember that sketch from Mr. Bean, where he's so focused on doing his thing that he forgets to turn over the page. And at the last minute, he's there going, "Oh, that's great, I'm finished." And he realized, actually, there's another few questions on the back of it. So we can be overly focused, hyper-focused. So, but at the same time, it can be too relaxed, and just go, "Oh, that's fine. I've got lots of time. I can do this." So you want to get a nice combination of both. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do now. All right. So the first thing I get you to do then is just to close your eyes, take a deep breath. Get yourself nice and comfortable there. And take a nice deep breath. Breathe into the mouth and hold it for a second. And out through the nose. And in through the mouth. And feel yourself relaxing as you breathe out through the nose. And as you do, just feel the crown of your head start to soften. And the muscles in your forehead, and the side of your eyes, and the side of your mouth, all just relaxing now. Your jaw goes heavy. And you feel that relaxation feeling going down your neck and your throat, to your shoulders. Your shoulders just relax now. You feel that relaxation running down your arms, into your hands, your fingers. As you breathe out, you notice your chest heaving and relaxing, and your stomach, and your back, all the way down your back, your thighs, your knees, your calves, all the way down your legs, all the way down to the very sole of your feet. Now through your toes. Now what I want you to do is to lift your left hand and imagine now a feeling of complete relaxation. And then your right hand, raise that. Imagine a feeling of complete focus. So just remember a time when you felt really focused. Perhaps you were driving a car or doing an exam. Time you were very focused on something you really enjoyed perhaps. Might have been a game of football or some sport that you enjoy. And what I want you to do now is to focus first on the relaxation and now on the focus. And feel the focus getting stronger and the feeling of relaxation, on the other hand, getting stronger, as if they're sitting on your hand, perhaps in a globe of some sort or a bubble. And bring those two hands together, closer and closer. And what you'll start to notice is that they'll push against each other because they're not the same, they're different. So that you can feel the resistance between the two hands as you bring them closer and closer along the heart line, along the chest line, just in front of your heart chakra. And as they get closer, you feel they push and they pull at the same time until you find yourself combining the two as you bring your palms together. And that's right, in your own time now, as you feel that happening. And you can feel the two feelings merging as one. And in a moment, but not just yet, I'm going to get you to slam the two feelings together into the center of your chest, into your heart. 3, 2, 1. Now. And feel them enter into your heart. And as they do, you feel the beating of your heart pushing them around through your blood system into every cell in your body. Feel it now, can't you? Going through your torso, to your arms, your hands, up your neck, into your head, down into your legs, your feet, pumping around your body as your heart beats faster and faster. You feel the relaxation and the focus at the same time. And give that a moment to merge fully into your body. And as it does, you notice then how good that feels. And when you're ready, whenever you're ready, not right now, if not, you just start to lower your hands down into your lap. And now I'm going to count up to 5, 1. Taking a deep breath. 2, becoming more aware of noises around you. 3, becoming more aware of the feeling of your body on the chair where you're sitting right now. 4, want to maybe take a yawn or stretch. And 5, open your eyes. And how did that feel?
That was incredible. That was great. Absolutely great. That's brilliant for the listeners, Fintan. Well done.
I hope they enjoy it. I hope they use it and they get some use out of it. So the thing about it is that you can do that with any two feelings, and they don't have to be related.
And also you can call it whatever you wish. So like relaxed focus or intrigued and curious.
Yeah, because a lot of people wouldn't be used to meditation. I for one. So like I suppose hypnosis and meditation are kind of similar in some way.
Going inside is a very useful tool because accessing resources, and it's used in many therapies. But I just like that you can do it in such a relaxed way. Plus, it feels good.
Yeah, because anybody, like for people that are listening, what Fintan just did there, like if you think about it, like with your focus is so important for anything you're doing, like be it exams or be it like interviews.
Yes. Well, yeah. What and some anything you would like to achieve, really.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself a maximum state or optimum state, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And Rich,
Yeah.
you have our scale and lay story of the day.
Hey, scale on day. Here we go.
Good on there. So I got sent this story through an email, and it goes like this. So just go back and cast your minds to the times of the Egyptians and the pharaohs and all that good kind of stuff. And Queen Cleopatra, she was having a bit of trouble with her brother Ptolemy the 13th, because they were having a bit of a feud in who was going to rule the country. And so this is around about the year 49 BC. And the situation between them got really quite bad. So they end up in civil war, basically. And at the time, I'm sure you're quite well aware of Antony and Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. And because things were getting pretty bad for Cleopatra, she had to escape to Alexandria. And word got around to that the Roman general Julius Caesar, he'd be making a visit to Alexandria, coincidentally enough, as she was there. So she knew that if she could win Julius Caesar's favour, it would tip the scales in her balance to beat her brother and take control back over Egypt. So what did she do? Well, she got some say it's a carpet, it might be a rug, might be linen, got wrapped up in it. One of her advisors took her and dropped her off into Julius Caesar's chambers, and there was unravelled a little present. And that's a little story.
A very nice present for Julius Caesar, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that then obviously tipped the scales back into her favour, as it were.
Thanks very much for that, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lot of food for thought there.
Sure, yeah. I think that was. I hope you all enjoyed that podcast or this podcast, and I hope you got some useful tips out of it. Something that you can use in all sorts of situations, useful situations in the future. So thanks very much for listening, and we talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks so much everybody for listening to NLP Upskill Your Life, and it's brilliant doing these podcasts for everybody. I hope you're getting a lot of gold out of it, and a big thank you to our guests we've had on so far. Tony Gordon. Tony Gordon. I'm still 8 days a bit from your great work, Fintan. Tony Gordon and Orlando Zicchetto. The two guests were great lads. Great stuff.
Yeah, thanks for listening in. And what should be said as well is a bit late now. If you are driving, listen to meditation or using any heavy plant, please do not listen and operate machinery safely. So thanks for listening and enjoy our podcast, NLP Upskill Your Life.
Thank you.
See you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.